You guys are going to watch this video. It is absolutely hilarious. It is an amazing example of persuasion and psychology in action, which is causing people to pay 18 times more than what they should be doing for a product. Take a look at this.
The experiment making headlines by the chain Payless Shoes. They held a grand opening of a luxury store with a different name but the same shoes and charged hundreds more for those same shoes. Customers paid. Here's ABC's Kana Whitworth.
Behold, Palessi.
We built a fake luxury store in Los Angeles and filled it with Payless shoes. The guests at our grand opening party had no idea.
Guests invited to
These fashion shows or these grand opening parties where it attracts a bunch of fashion influencers, right? Why would you ever turn up wearing your blazer over the top of your shoulders? Surely it's not that comfortable. It's going to fall off any moment. And I just don't know why that's even a fashion thing. This is why I don't work in the fashion industry.
Guests invited to check out what looked like a luxury shoe shop.
They're elegant, sophisticated.
I just think it's so classy.
And I could tell it was made with high quality material.
A $35 shoe going for $645, an 1,800% markup. Store owners sat on their heels as fashion influencers emptied their wallets.
I would pay $400, $500. Yeah, people are gonna be like, where'd you get those? Those are amazing.
Then they're let in on the prank.
These are actually from Payless.
You've got to be kidding me.
Shut up. Are you serious?
But those shoppers were refunded their money and they got to keep the shoes.
Pretty embarrassing, right, for those people in fashion. But before we talk about the actual psychological effect which is happening here, which is a few lessons for you to learn as well, let's just take a little look back at some of what these guys were saying about this. This is what I find some of the worst bits about, you know, the experts in the industry.
I just think it's so classy.
And I could tell it was made with high quality material.
I can tell it was made with high quality material. Shut up, bro. No, you can't. Let's have a look at what this next lady says here.
I would pay $400, $500. Yeah, people are gonna be like, where'd you get those? Those are amazing.
I would pay $400 or even $500. People would ask, where'd you get those? Those look amazing, right? So this is something very, very key in psychology, is that when you pay a high price for something, you're not only paying for it for yourself, but you're paying for it because you get a good feeling about it. But sometimes, particularly with like luxury brands or, you know, a luxury watch or driving a nice car, it's not really about the feeling that you get from the item. It's the feeling that you get from other people looking at the item. You can tell how excited this woman is talking about, you know, spending $400 or $500 just on a pair of shoes. And she has no idea that these shoes are actually, you know, $20 to $30, right? But it's the status that it gives her. Very, very interesting in psychology. So let's talk a little bit about why this actually happens and what this is called, right? This is called the price quality effect, or otherwise known as, you know, association bias. And what association bias is that people have a tendency to essentially associate higher price with higher quality or higher value. And so when people see a cereal or a shoe or a watch which is priced way higher than anything else that is also, you know, a shoe, a cereal or a watch, they would think to themselves, I feel like that's very good quality. And because they would think that, it actually drives demand. So it's really interesting. It took me a long time to actually get my head around this concept. So when I first started in business, I assumed that if I charged just a really low rate, I would get way more customers because there is less of a barrier to entry to buying my service. I assumed that, right? It's perfect logic. Was I right? No, I wasn't right at all. In fact, I was so wrong that people would go and buy my competitors' stuff instead. And the reason why they would buy my competitors' stuff is because I assumed they would look at me and think, I'll just go for the cheap guy because I'll save some money. But what really happened was people looked at me and thought, I will go for this guy. Oh no, hold on a minute. He is charging considerably less than his competitor down the road. What does his competitor have that he's missing, right? So it was the whole thing flipped on its head. So my assumption of how psychology works was completely wrong, right? So you should charge more what you're worth, and that is lesson number one. I'm gonna show you in just a minute a young Alex Hormozi talking about Gym Launch, his old brand, of how he used this same pricing strategy and the psychology behind that. But before I talk about that, over the last 2 or 3 months, more and more people are asking me about whether I am selling some sort of persuasion course or influence course, or whether I plan to. And the short answer is I'm not selling anything like that at the moment. And to be honest with you, I just don't have the time to create something like that. I may do in the future, but not right at the moment. But as kind of a happy middle ground, I have put a top link in my description of the video, which allows you to book a paid call with me, where we could talk about any of your, persuasion questions that you need to for your business. I can try and help problem solve for you there. I recommend you do have a business before you book a call, because then we can actually talk about specifics and things like that. Anyway, on to this clip about Alex. This is from over 5 years ago. Let's take a look at what he says.
Then most people just need to raise their prices, usually by a long shot. Like not even like a little bit raise their prices, but like go into a different stratosphere so that people are like, this can't be the same thing.
Yeah,
But if they're like, well, you're just a little bit more than TJ Maxx on the street, but you're like, what's so, because it has to be so much that they're like, why is yours priced at this point?
Yeah.
Right.
And they like you have a lot of.
So super interesting, right? He was saying that even just pricing something so ridiculously high actually captures attention of people because they think there's got to be something different. And again, it's that price quality effect, aka association bias, where people associate the higher price of something with a much higher value or higher quality of something, which in turn makes them actually focus on whatever you're selling. So really, really interesting lesson here for all types of businesses. First is, do not price yourself too low. It's going to actually have the opposite effect. I unfortunately found that out the hard way years ago. Secondly, find something and charge what you think is a fair price for what you're worth. How you work that out, it's entirely up to you. But just remember that people have this tendency to associate a higher price with higher quality. So if you are higher quality or you offer more valuable advice, do not be afraid of charging something which you're worth there. And number three, please don't pay $1,000 for shoes. I have no idea who that market appeals to, who that product appeals to, but it does appeal to some people. I would never pay. I am the wrong target market for that stuff. Now, I would pay probably 10 times that for education, whether it's a course, whether it's learning from someone who's been there and done that, or learning from someone who's very skilled in a particular area. I would totally pay for something like that because I feel like it would make me more money. But hey, maybe that's just how my mind works. Me and my partner have been together for 10 years, and recently she's decided that she wants to get married. So we've been looking at various different wedding venues, and they also do this pricing strategy as well. And it's hilarious. Some places we went to, you just think, why would I ever pay, what you're asking? And then other places I've went to, it's a very reasonable amount which they're charging. And it's like a beautiful, amazing, kind of like fairy tale place to, get married. And I just thought it's really funny because these places also must trick a lot of people into thinking that, hey, you know what, if I pay this amount, maybe the food's going to be great, maybe the service is going to be great, maybe they're going to keep all my guests happy, when it's just not the case. So watch out for this trickery, okay? If you found this video interesting, please leave me a comment, and if you'd like to see more psychological little tips and tricks and persuasion elements like this, leave me a comment, let me know as well, so I can put more stuff into videos and create more content around what you guys want. Okay, take it easy, guys. See you later.